The Miami Dolphins did it. They officially signed edge rusher Matthew Judon, the former Pro Bowler for the New England Patriots, who was with Atlanta last season, still on the market, visited Miami today, and after his visit went well, Miami actually brought him into the roster. It's a one-year deal worth max value of $6 million. We'll ultimately see what the contract details are in terms of base, guaranteed, and what incentives could get him up to that $6 million max value. But apparently, it went well today between Judon and Miami. And we're going to have a lot of thoughts about Judon coming here. They called him Red Sleeves in New England because he would wear red long sleeves at every game underneath their jerseys. Could he wear orange sleeves in Miami? That'd be kind of raw. Nah, that'd be tough. Either way, welcome Matthew Judon, potentially orange sleeves, to Miami. I want to have him feel the love of Dolphins fans if he happens to click on this video. So like this video if you want to welcome Matthew Judon to the roster. I'll slot him in right behind Chop Robinson with this new depth chart. They list Jaelan Phillips as an outside linebacker. I don't know if they would do the same with Matthew Judon. I'll put him at the DN spot for now. But Chop and Chubb are, to me, you're still starters at the edge spot with Jaelan Phillips holding down the outside linebacker spot. If they view Judon in that light, you'd just be backing up Jaelan Phillips either way. But the point is, this is your fourth edge rusher. This is your fourth pass rusher from the outside. He is not going to be a starter. He is going to be a very used in right spots type of pass rushing guy. And when you think of what Miami has now created, I think you've created one of the best pass rushers in all of football. And yeah, the numbers were just on screen. He is not who he was when he was playing for New England, when he was a Pro Bowler, having 12 and a half and 15 and a half sacks in back-to-back years. He had that injury in 2023, gets traded for a third-round pick to Atlanta, and then ultimately let his contract expire, becomes a free agent, never gets picked up until right now. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like the Dolphins just got a Pro Bowl-level pass rusher because we are just so far removed from him putting up those type of numbers. But what we did get is a veteran, experienced guy that provides you insurance in case Jaelan Phillips or Bradley Chubb get hurt again this season. But it also gives you a fourth dude where, heck, maybe you can put four guys and create a crazy pass rush package that features Chop, Judon, Jaelan, and Chubb. How insane would that be? But as we continue to talk about Judon and who he is as a player at this stage in his career, I do want to show the truth. I'm not going to try to act like it's all positive here. And although I do think it's a valued addition and he'll make good plays for Miami, he was a bottom 10 pass rusher last season amongst edge rushers that qualified, that played 50% of the top snap pass rushing guy. I always phrase that wrong, I feel like, but he qualified for the top half, and he ranked in the 60s out of 69. So it's not great. The pass rush win percentage is not good. He did not generate a ton of pressures last season, but the Falcons' pass rush wasn't good last year, so maybe him being able to work off of Chop, Jaelan, Bradley. Like, the point is this. When you're able to have two of Judon, Chop, Jaelan, and Chubb in any type of figuration you want together on the football field, that's going to keep them fresh. It's going to keep them more healthy throughout the season. And ultimately, this is the goal, create a more balanced and consistent pass rush from the exterior. And then you add in Zach Sieler and Kenneth Grant / Benito Jones from the interior, and you hope that this is a top three. That's what I think bare minimum, top three pass rush in all of football. We obviously mentioned it a little bit earlier. It is a one-year contract worth a max value of $6 million. When the full details come out, we'll break that down in terms of base salary, guaranteed salary. Miami had about $11.6 million in cap space still available. So we'll also have to take a look at what the cap hit is here for Judon and how much Miami has left. But the thing is, I'll also say, I would have probably still went cornerback. And I said this on the video earlier today when I reacted to Matthew Judon visiting Miami. To me, when you look at what this Dolphins roster has and needs, it still is all about the secondary. And maybe they are just committing to the pass rush and saying, hey, I know our secondary isn't very good. We don't view any of these free agents as difference makers. Maybe Judon can be a difference maker. We'll force the opposing offense to get the ball out of their hands within 2 seconds so this poor secondary doesn't have to hold up as long. I can get that line of thinking, but this pass rush better be damn elite if you are going to go that route. So, pin comment on this episode. Red pen time. Grade the signing of Matthew Judon, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. We're going to use the rest of this video to update you on some injury news because Mike McDaniel did share a lot on today's edition of his press conference with Dolphins media. And before we get to some other notes, I did want to mention that McDaniel said that Judon's visit, eventual signing, was not in correlation with a potential injury at the edge room to a Chop, a Jaelan, or a Chubb. So this is a addition, not a replacement. Maybe McDaniel lied to us. I hope not, but it seems like those four will be healthy together, at least in the first couple of weeks here. But the first big note that he provided, Zach Sieler, he is returning to practice this week. This is a major update for Miami after McDaniel said on Saturday it could be days to weeks until they returned to Miami and got further reevaluated. I didn't think it was anything serious for Sieler, considering he was still engaged at joint practice on Thursday, wasn't participating, but was on the sideline with his teammates and coaches, kind of locked in to seeing what was happening. But this is your best defensive player, so I am very happy that Sieler is going to be ready to rock. He is probably not going to miss any time, and we can have our captain of the defense ready to roll for the start of the season. Speaking of a captain ready to roll, seems like that is where things are trending for Austin Jackson. The starting right tackle and blindside protector for Tua has been out the past couple of weeks with an injury. McDaniel said initially that the expectation is Jackson will be ready to roll for the first game against the Colts on September 7th. McDaniel provided an update that said that is still the plan, and it is going well in terms of his recovery and rehab. And that is music to my ears because with how bad the depth on this offensive line has been in the preseason, you can't have Jackson missing extended time. It's my biggest concern with the Dolphins this season. If they sustain a major injury to one of their starting O-linemen, they are in trouble. I think the starting five up front can be a top half unit in the NFL this year. But if one of them goes down, it goes from potentially top half to bottom 10. So Jackson's a major piece here. Larry Borom, Keon Smith has looked terrible. So hopefully Jackson's able to get healthy and play pretty much majority of the season. Because if that's not the case, we very well could be in trouble. So hopefully everything is good there for Austin Jackson, and we'll see him on the football field sooner rather than later. And I got to show some major thanks to Ethos for sponsoring today's show, because in this day and age, you can't take anything for granted. When you lose someone close to you, you can't help but think about the future. With life insurance through Ethos, your family is protected. Life insurance is a perfect way to make sure you're covered, can help pay the mortgage or your kids' college tuition. Right now, you can get a free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. Life insurance is more affordable than you think, and with Ethos, you can get a free quote and customize a rate that fits your budget. The process is 100% online with no medical exam required. Just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage. You can join them and protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Appreciate Ethos for sponsoring this edition of Dolphins Today. We'll go from the defense to the offense here and focus on tight end Darren Waller, who has still been on the PUP list and not practiced with Miami after being acquired in the trade with the New York Giants a month ago. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, in his weekly hit with Josh Moser, said that with all due respect to the other tight ends on the Dolphins roster, Darren Waller will be ready to rock for week 1. He said that last week. Mike McDaniel has echoed that sentiment, that he is not injured. He is just returning to football condition. He was in good shape, but not football shape. And hopefully he'll be ready to start practicing this week. And McDaniel responded, if you will, saying that Waller his return is not set in stone, but it is expected that he starts practicing very soon. And it's about time. This is major for Miami. I don't expect a ton from Darren Waller this season, but based off what I've seen from the tight ends in the preseason, I would hope it would be better than what we've seen. I am not high on Julian Hill. Everybody knows that. Pharaoh Brown has looked really, really bad. Tanner Conner has some good things going from him, but he has a lot of deficiency as well. I know the tight end position isn't the most important on this Dolphins roster and offensive scheme, but we need better than what we've seen so far in the preseason, and you have to hope Darren Waller will provide that, but we'll have no idea of knowing if he can unless he's actually ready to play football week 1 and back on the practice field. So I'm really hoping that that happens very, very soon. The season is right around the corner. Make sure you subscribe, but also subscribe for breaking news like the video today with Matthew Judon. We had a video go out in the morning about Judon visiting Miami. Now we have a video going out about how he is signing with the Dolphins, plus injury news to cover alongside that. Join the channel for daily Dolphins coverage. We're going to round out the show with some not-so-good news, a couple injuries that I want to make note of. We'll start with the key player here. That is Achane, the running back from Miami. We know that he was banged up. He did not participate in the Thursday joint practice with Detroit. Obviously was not available on Saturday in the preseason game. But then following the preseason game, McDaniel said about both Achane and Sieler that they were injured. They were going to be out days to weeks and would be reevaluated when they return to Miami this week. Well, we had the injury update on Zach Sieler, and now we have a bit of an update on the running back Achane. The injury that he is currently facing is a calf injury. They do not want it to linger, so he will likely not practice this week. But the plan is for Achane to be fully healthy and ready to roll for the week 1 game that's 20 days away against the Indianapolis Colts. And I am very much in favor of not practicing Achane until the year, if we're going to be honest, especially now that I know it's a calf injury. Calf injuries are so sketchy, dude. Like, when you look just across at the NBA, I know some people might not be the biggest NBA people. I am. DeMarcus Cousins, Tyrese Halliburton, Kevin Durant, all players that had calf injuries, pushed it, and ultimately tore their Achilles. When you have a calf strain, when you have a bad calf, it puts so much stress on your Achilles to where a bad move, too much pressure, could rupture it. Your season, your career might be over. Achane is too key of a player, long-term and short-term, for this roster to jeopardize that by rushing him back from a calf injury. Take your time, make sure he's fully healthy, and we don't risk a long-term or career-altering injury for Achane. Final injury update on this massive edition of the Dolphins today here. Ethan Bonner, the only player who left the game on Saturday with an injury, has a hamstring injury, will be out weeks. Not ideal for Bonner. And for Cam Smith, you just got great news. I had Cam Smith on the outside looking in of this 53-man roster projection. My top 6 corners going into preseason week 2 were Bonner, Jack Jones, Jason Marshall Jr., Mike Hilton, Storm Duck, and Kendall Sheffield. With Bonner out, might start the year on IR. Cam Smith is probably on this 53-man roster if Miami keeps 6 corners. And he was pretty good against the Lions. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he played the entire second half, played in 34 snaps, had the second highest defensive PFF grade in that game, allowed no catches on 2 targets, QB rating on target of 37. Like, he was legitimately good, albeit against third stringers in Detroit. But hey, you got to start somewhere. And I know Cam Smith is buried on this depth chart and would be the final corner to make the 53-man roster, at least as we currently stand. I'm at least pretty happy that he looked somewhat competent in this game against Detroit. Needs another good week against the Jaguars in joint practice on Thursday and the preseason game on Saturday to try to solidify himself on this 53-man roster. But hey, got to give credit where credit's due. Cam Smith looked pretty good in that game against the Lions on Saturday. That'll do it for today's show. You want more updates on the Dolphins, make sure you subscribe. Whether it's injury news, rumors, breaking news, we have you covered. See you tomorrow with another video and a live show. Go Fins.